So, hello everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Wage. We will be getting reintroduced to our favorite co-host, Akan, as well as Peterson, and we're going to be talking about a great, very important topic this evening, and that topic is going to be on relationships. Relationships are really important because they help build community, right? And that's what we always are about, building community. So, we're going to be talking about some really pointed things, and we're going to be showing a couple of videos to get your opinion. So not just me, not just our co-host, but you as a listener audience are also going to be able to weigh in on what you think about these topics. So anything that you have to say, any of your thoughts, concerns, ideas, plug them into the thread. We post those comments and we're going to have you weigh in. So in a few short moments, our show will begin. Thank you guys.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This and like this. Baby, you a hard stopper.
Woke up in my city, yeah, I feel like Big Papa. I feel like Big Papa.
Nah, nah, nah. You gotta go like this, and like this. Baby, you a hard stopper.
Woke up in my city.
Okay, so without any further ado, we're gonna ladies first bring in Miss Peterson. Hello, Miss
Hi.
Io.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And we're gonna also welcome Brother Akan. What's up, Brother Ra?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Okay, so
Thanks for having me on tonight.
listen,
How y'all feeling tonight?
come.
Everything's good.
I
Okay.
feel great because we
Yeah.
know our community are
It's gonna
gonna
be a good podcast tonight.
this is gonna be a great podcast. And so we're gonna start by showing the video clip,
Wait,
right?
hold on.
Motivated, yeah, sure, Rob. He'll be back showing the video clip that kind of motivated this show for discussion. It was something that I saw. I want to share it with you guys, and then I'm gonna have our co-hosts to weigh in. So you guys just bear with me while I start to share the screen. A matter of fact, maybe I should wait until Rob comes back so that he can see it and weigh in too. But we're gonna start to bring it up. Well, we hope that he'll get back in to see the rest. No, but I won't be able to see him. There he is. He's back. So I have to get him back in. Okay, great, Rod, you're back. So now I'm gonna.
I was having technical difficulties. I apologize about that.
No worries. So what I did was I recorded the clip that I'm gonna show everyone, but you're gonna hear like the GPS a little bit. Just ignore that. We're tuning into it. It's because I had to tell her, but I said, "Oh my, she's big mad." Right? So we're gonna listen to a little bit. I'm gonna weigh in and tell me what you think.
Okay.
So let's get this started, and here we go.
Tell you what, men, cheating is wrong. Going and having an outside relationship is totally wrong. And that is his problem. That is his fault. Nobody is blaming a woman for a man cheating. Let's just get that out of the way before you all start going crazy. Let me tell you why men just don't leave.
In 1,000 feet, keep left.
Their finances and their peace of mind. Let's just be real, black women. And I'm talking to black women right now. The majority of y'all, let's just be 100% real. A lot of y'all, the majority of y'all, and I'm not talking about women who this does not apply to. The majority of you chicks out there, when a man decides to leave, you're going to rape him any way that you can. His finances, his kids, and his peace of mind. You're going to harass that man about what you did for him and who he wasn't and why he didn't. And you want to ask, why don't he just leave? Because he got to deal with the fact that you're going to make it impossible, nearly impossible for him to see his children. He's going to have to go to court and fight and for bullshit visitation. He can't go to school and pick his own kids up. If the kids is in day camp and they not having a good day, and he called the kids, call their father at school, Dad, can you come pick me up? He got to get permission from you. That's why they're not leaving. then you're going to just try to take all his finances. And fair is fair. I'm not saying when people get a divorce that each person shouldn't get the portion that they deserve, but y'all want to drain a brother dry, and you want to know why he won't leave? Why he just don't leave? Stop being unrealistic, ladies, acting like you letting this man leave and you at peace with it. Oh, go ahead. I know this didn't work out for us. No. You're mean, you're bitter, and then he got to deal with you for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, if he has kids with you, oh, that is a whole recipe for disaster, because you're going to make his life a living hell. Let me tell y'all the number one reason. And
keep left to State Route 19 South to I-80 East.
Let me give y'all a good fact that y'all need to listen to right now. Let me tell you something what men with children said. Prepare your ears. Let me tell you something what men with children said why they don't
leave. In 1.9 miles, keep left to Garden State Parkway South.
Out the door tomorrow with my children, my money, and my peace of mind, I would have been gone years ago from this place.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right, okay. Well, that she had some feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rod, let's start with you. And then again, you're going to give us, I guess, the male perspective on this. Do you agree? The brother definitely in the video was agreeing. It was the fingers for me. He was in agreement. Rod, what do you think?
You have brothers that go through that with certain turbulent, relationships with, baby mothers or wives where, yes, they feel like they can't leave because they're binded not just with the kids, but also they have invested into the marriage or relationship where they just can't get up and leave. They feel like they're trapped. Right. So she's not totally wrong with that. Right. So I think, generalizing, all relationships and marriages, no. I think that you have some that feel like they can't leave because they fear that the woman they're with is vindictive. She's going to take him, to court for child support, threaten him that he'll never see his children again, might even call the police. I know brothers that went through that. I don't generalize all, women to do that, but you do have women that's turbulent, and so I think it's true when you're talking about a certain mindset that a certain woman has that is vindictive. You know what I'm saying? That want to be in control. That are going to use the children as leverage to have control, to call shots, to control his life emotionally. So yes, she wasn't totally wrong about that. But what I'm saying now, I'm starting to see more and more videos of women talking about toxic women. You understand? But sometimes you also, if you're going to talk about the whole thing, some women are being driven into acting like that. You understand? Hurt people. Some women have been hurt in past relationships and they never healed themselves. You understand? So sometimes it's a continuation of the toxic relationship they had with the last person. They bring it into the new relationship. You understand? And they feel like, okay, if this person hurt me, I got something for them. And, they become very vindictive. So sometimes you have to examine, where the hurt comes from. Because sometimes it might not be that man that's in the relationship that have children with her. It might have been a previous relationship, the reason why this woman is the way she is. She never healed from it. That could be, it could be turbulent, in a new relationship if you haven't healed from the previous relationship, if that man hurt that woman.
Right. That's good stuff. Ayo, she had a lot of feelings. Veins popping out. She trying to save the brothers. Ayo, what do you think?
First off, her demeanor or her tone was it was combative, but she wasn't coming from a place of giving advice. You know what I mean? She was coming from a place of, I'm going to tell y'all black women, because she said y'all. I'm speaking to y'all. So that made
she was generalizing.
Not just that, I heard that she wasn't including herself. She wasn't saying, us black women, or we, she said y'all black women. And
Yeah.
when I look at her, she looks to me as if she's biracial, mixed race, or maybe foreign. She has some foreign, blood in her. That's what I got from what she said. That's number one. Number two, if she's talking about married women, what married woman is going to be like, why doesn't he just leave? That's the perspective of a girlfriend. That's the perspective of a side chick. That's the perspective of someone who's not in a committed relationship. People in a committed relationship aren't like, oh, why don't you just leave? You know what I mean? And I'm going to make it easy for you, because part of a marriage is a lifelong commitment.
Right.
Like,
Right.
if you
That's
have
right.
the intentions of being there for life, then there's no reason to make those vows.
Right.
And we shouldn't even that shouldn't even be a conversation.
Right.
And as far as, the man getting away scot-free, or it's not easy for him to leave, it shouldn't be easy for him to leave. In fact, divorce, the only reason you should have a divorce is because of infidelity in a marriage. That's the only reason to have a divorce.
Now I want to cut in
Yeah.
right there. It's interesting
Okay.
you said that. That's a good
Mhm.
point. I did a live video as a response to this, and there was a young lady I remember who made a comment. And she said that, people break up marriages much too casually, much too soon.
Right.
And
Mhm.
that just because a man has, been has some infidelity, that's not a reason to divorce. So your opinion is different. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I'll go back to what I said in a few shows ago, that we need to have a code of conduct, and a good code of conduct is the Torah. It's like the law, right? If
Mhm.
we follow the law, then one of the tenets of the law is you're not supposed to divorce. But
Right.
the other thing is you're not supposed to commit adultery
Right.
or fornication. You know what I mean? But
Right.
the thing is, nowadays in America, we all the rules, all the laws, all the norms have
Yeah,
gone
it's
out
out
the
the
window.
window.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone out the window. So it's like anything goes, and under those circumstances, we have chaos and confusion. If we all had the same code of conduct, like I said, that woman would have nothing to say. Her
Right.
arguments are baseless.
Right.
Even
Right.
though she was passionate about it, nothing she said made any sense. If you're talking to a married couple, if you're
Right.
talking to someone who's married, they made vows, they made a commitment to stay together through thick and thin.
Right.
So
Right.
for her to talk about you're not making it easy for him to leave and all this other kind of stuff, that doesn't make sense. Now, if she's coming from a perspective of, a girlfriend or a side chick or something like that, that's different. But at the same time, you're not supposed to live your life like that either.
Yeah,
So
she was very passionate about it, and I don't know why she felt that she needed to point that conversation to you black women.
y'all black women, I'm specifically y'all black women, because I think it's clear why she did that.
I'm thinking that infidelity doesn't really have a color or gender for that matter, but I was just
Well,
like,
no, that's not what it is. The reason she said y'all black women is because she's interested in black men. And it's black
mm,
women who are trying to keep their husbands or keep
Yeah.
their relationship. So she's like, why don't you just make it easy for pick-me's like me to snatch up your man? You're making it
Yeah.
hard for me. That's basically what she's saying.
right,
Yeah. It's almost like I'm not like them. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
not like them other women. It's like trying to put herself on the market. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm with y'all. These women
Y'all
are
black women.
toxic, but not me though. Pick
I'm
me.
exotic, okay? I'm
I ain't
exotic.
nothing like them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, trying to single herself out. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
okay. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna take the direction of just asking you guys a couple of questions, right? And this is just to form some type of perspective. These are just
Okay.
perspectives, guys. My listening audience, you guys can weigh in. We'll add your comments to the conversation. But so Kevin Samuels, what is your opinion on Kevin Samuels? I liked Kevin. I think he checked some women about some things that we should get checked on.
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you guys think? And we'll start with Ayo this time, and then we'll go to Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, me personally, I can't stand the Kevin Samuels of the world. I can't stand the whole MGTOW movement, the incels, all that stuff, Because if we had a code of conduct, like I said, if we were following a code of conduct, nothing that these people say would make any sense.
Right.
Because they're talking double speak.
Okay.
Like Kevin Samuels is he was very superficial. He was very condescending. He was full of hypocrisy and double standards when it came to men and women. Like he did make some good points, but it was at the expense of someone's integrity. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
It was at the expense of someone's dignity and self-respect. So I have no patience for people like that.
He was funny to me. I don't know,
he was disgusting to me.
He was telling females, you up here, you're not a 10, and you talking about you want to.
Who is he to say that? Who is he to say that?
A high quality man, but on being equal, and y'all ain't gonna get me caught up in this, but being equal, right? Who is a woman? And I don't know, maybe it's right. These are just. Who is a woman to say I'm not dating a man unless he's making 6 figures and she's not?
Because it's not equal. It's not we already know that for every dollar that the white man makes, I think black women make 65 cents. So for you to make it equal like that, then we have to equal the playing field. And that's why people should look into what feminism actually is, as opposed to what has become or what people perceive it to be.
Okay.
Because if we're going to talk like that, then you have to even the playing field, and then you have to let women have access to, jobs that pay more money. Because a lot of times women in corporate America aren't getting the leadership positions like men are. So it's not a level playing field.
I agree.
So the standards are different.
Feminism. Yeah, I like that feminism part, and I want to talk more about that, but I want to let Rod get a chance to comment on Kevin Samuels. Your opinion on him.
Well, Kevin Samuels, what I'm saying? Like I said, he made some good points. I didn't really too much, like his delivery sometimes, calling one woman a big ball of cholesterol. You know what I'm saying? He had some punchlines. You know what I'm saying? So,
falling in too.
Yeah, he would go in. He would go in. He made some good points. The thing that kind of threw me off was, when he left here, it seemed his preference wasn't black women. You know what I'm saying? When you seen the last woman he was with before he passed on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you was critiquing black women to, make them think, you know what I'm saying, to give them a better way of thinking about themselves, or, how society is looking at them when they got these high standards, but they don't have these high standards for themselves. But they have these high standards for men, mainly black men. So I don't know. Like I said, I get it. I understand that, he was speaking some truth. You understand? Like I said, I wasn't too much for the delivery sometimes. But like I said, it was a lot of questioning when he passed, when you seen the last woman he was with. She was non-black.
Right.
You understand? And I've seen a lot of his messages was directed towards the black woman.
So basically,
like, okay, so what is the objective?
So basically, we have women pick me's, right, against black women. We have Kevin Samuels' crew against black women, right? So
well, he birthed.
Let me just finish. So this is I'm gonna come back to you guys.
Because you have.
So basically,
you have to understand that Kevin Samuels has birthed females like the woman that was in that video. You understand? That was feeling some way already. You don't know if somebody took that woman's man. You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
so she's speaking and trying to make her point, but she might have some personal feelings involved in her message too, because she might have experienced another woman taking her man. You understand? So you have to understand, Kevin Samuels has birthed certain women that's on, social media talking about black women, directing a message towards how toxic black women can be and all that. But like y'all was saying, that I didn't pay attention to when she was like, y'all women. She was not including herself. I didn't pay attention to that. That was a good, what I mean? Because I didn't see that. But now when y'all put it, brought that to my attention, now I'm looking at it like, who hurt you, man? You understand? It's almost like you're separating yourself, but then at the same time, as you separate yourself, it seems like you're generalizing, black women.
Okay, so look, Rob, I got a question. I'm going to give to you, then I'm going to go to Ayo. Okay. Now, I'm being devil's advocate here. So if we're going to say that Kevin Samuels was being toxic to women, that cholesterol one was terrible. I never heard about it. But this is my question. Is it not equally or even more toxic to have channels like the Lifetime channels? Like men have been getting bashed forever. So no one ever says anything. So my thing is it because that's passive aggressive bashing that is acceptable? But Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, he called himself telling it like it is instead of being, indirect. He was direct. I mean, devil's advocate only.
Right.
Well, anything that's aimed towards men in a negative way, like you said, the Lifetime channel, they're going to do it in a subliminal way. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to make the man look like the monster. Yeah. See, the thing is, we live in a society that don't want the truth raw and uncut. You know what I'm saying? Straightforward. You know what I mean? We like it sugar-coated. We live in a society that can't handle a lot of truth. It always comes down to, well, it's the way they said it. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter how somebody say it. You understand? It's the fact that I said it that's the problem. You understand? Especially when it's the truth and you have to look at yourself because you can relate to it. It might apply to you, but a lot of people want to live in a fallacy that they're perfect. You understand? So when you start speaking truth, or you might be talking about something that kind of goes on the lines of somebody like, well, damn, that's me. You understand? But they don't want to accept the fact that's them. You understand? Then they're going to have a problem with the message. It doesn't matter how it's delivered. You understand? It's the fact that we live in a society that wants to sugarcoat everything. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Ayo, what do you think? Passive aggressive with the Lifetime channel or not?
Let me see. With the Lifetime channel, that's the way I look at it is that's a form of propaganda and brainwashing. And it goes back to what I was saying about the code of conduct. Basically, what's happening in American society today is we have two sets of rules. There's a set of rules for men to follow and a set of rules for women to follow. But those two different sets of rules are not synergistic. They don't complement each other. In fact, that's what's causing the division. The things that are tolerated, the things that society okays nowadays is the reason we're having problems. And I want to touch on something that Ra had said regarding Kevin Samuels and when he had died, the woman did not look like, someone from our community. Right. And part of the problem with Kevin Samuels is he was giving men justification to turn their backs on their own women. Right. So what he was doing was pointing out flaws and making it seem like these women weren't worthy. Whereas that's why I was like, I'm totally against MGTOW, because MGTOW is basically men going their own way, which means turning their back on their own community and going to, whites, Asians, and Hispanics, basically. That's the basis of it. So he was catering his message to those types of men, and he was using Black women to take the fall for justification for that message. Okay. So these women were calling him, asking him for advice. I don't know why they would do that, but they were asking him for advice so they could be better people, so that they could attract a Black man. But that wasn't what his message was. Not for them to be better people. His message was for them to be clowned and made fools of, so that other men could feel justified in turning their backs on them. That's the problem that I have with that.
Okay, so my next question is, suppose Kevin Samuels, suppose that wasn't his goal. Suppose his goal was to have Black women to examine themselves and their actions. Maybe he went around it a different way to examine our actions to increase families in the community. For example, that's my next question. The ring. It's a huge debate. Men are out here saying, why should I give women a ring? I'm at home. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm helping you with the cooking and cleaning, I'm paying bills, or I'm pulling my weight. Why do you need a ring to prove anything? So I want to hear from both of you. Whoever wants to take that first, just dive in. The other one can go next. The ring, is it important? What is it? Is it important? Should it be a thing? Because this is a huge debate now with men not wanting to give a ring.
I think that when you're talking about some people don't want to engage with the whole ring and the whole tradition because it stems from Christianity as a Christian union, and a lot of people don't want to engage into that because there's people that, that's out here that's not into religion like that. And we have to examine the fact that this do stem from Christianity. And a lot of people are not Christian, but this is a Christian process of getting the ring, the engagement ring, the whole ceremony of getting married, putting a ring on each other and everything. You know what I'm saying? This whole process is from Christianity. So there's some people that do have a conflict with that. But like I said, we was raised in a predominant Christian society where a lot of people know this is the tradition. They mothers and fathers, they wed it like this, grandparents wed it like this. So they just trying to carry on tradition. But there's a lot of people that don't want to get involved with the whole religious side of it. But like I said, this tradition stems from Christianity. A lot of people are not Christian. You know what I mean? A lot of people are not religious these days. You're dealing with a lot of people that's kind of straying away from the organized religion. So this is where the conflict comes at for some. I'm not saying all. Some feel like, well, we've been together a lot of years. Some people believe in common law marriage. You know what I'm saying? Where we've been together, where we, this union, we shouldn't have to have rings to justify union and our love for each other. Me personally, I did. I followed the tradition. I carried on tradition. You know what I'm saying? So you're talking to somebody that did the process of giving my wife a ring, engagement ring. We got married, you know what I'm saying? And we said our vows and everything. But there's a lot of people that feel like that, that shouldn't justify their love and their loyalty to their partner. So I just feel like it's not for everybody. But yes, there's a conflict, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, a lot of people nowadays are not into organized religion. Some people know, it could be some spiritual going on with that. I don't know. I don't want to go too far left, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? There's more and more, men having an issue with this, you know what I'm saying? That this whole tradition of the ring and everything supposed to justify. I think that you have some people do it for the status of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll see somebody get engaged and it's all on Facebook. It's all on Instagram.
Yeah.
The woman holding her finger up to show you the ring. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you gotta ask yourself, you know what I'm saying, is it the ring or is it how much the ring costs? You understand? Because sometimes it's more than just the status of I'm getting married. It's like, yo, this is 14 carats. Look all these carats on my, you know what I mean? It's like then you look at other women like, yo, can you top this? Can you top this ring he bought me? You know what I mean? It turns into this whole thing like keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I mean? And then you gotta question that because when you see it on social media, sometimes it seems like more bragging rights than anything.
Okay, good stuff.
And I'm gonna land my plane with that.
Okay, so good stuff. I'm gonna come to Ayo with that same question about the ring, but first I want to just read Mayo's comment. Mayo, I don't agree with you totally on that. She says in Africa they practice mostly Islam and marriage, and it's just as important to them as Christianity. I don't know if you want to just.
What I was saying was this is a predominantly Christian society. I'm going off the tradition of the whole process. It's Christian based with the rings, saying the vows and everything. You know what I'm saying? from what I've seen, a lot of people getting married in Christian churches and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. I'm looking at the tradition of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that stems from, you know what I'm saying, being raised in Christian families and following the Christian religion. That's the only point I was
Good stuff.
making. I'm not saying that that don't happen in other religions. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? This is a predominantly Christian society. You understand? And the tradition and the whole ceremony is Christian based. That's all I'm saying.
Real quick before I go to Ayo, I see that you're not really advocating for the marriage thing, but you're married. Can you elaborate on that just briefly?
With me, no, I'm not against marriage. I'm saying I went through the ceremony. I'm talking about this.
You as a man to do that.
Yeah, me personally, I went through the process. That's something I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? With my wife. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's men out here that I know personally that don't want to go through that. They feel like the tradition, you know what I'm saying, does not, solidify their love because they feel like I've been with my woman for a lot of years. You know what I mean? The ring shouldn't justify, you know what I'm saying, my love for her or my loyalty to being with her. You know what I'm saying? They feel like they're in solidarity already. They feel like they don't have to go through that process. You know what I mean? Just to, prove that they love the woman they with. That's all I'm saying. Me personally, I went through the process. I carried on tradition. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I did it.
So
I'm not speaking for other men, but I can understand, you know what I'm saying, because I look at it from both sides. Yeah.
So do you think the majority of men, and of course we don't have the data in front of us, but do you think the majority of men really are not wanting to get married these days because tradition and history is involved in those decision making, or do you think that maybe the majority is kind of tilting toward I want to look single, so I don't want any rings out there, I don't want the pictures, because I mean, face it, we see more women posting their significant others or mates on social media than you do a man. You can look at a man's page, you don't even know he got a girlfriend, much less a wife. He's been married. You don't even know by looking at the social media. So I think, and again, we don't have the data. Maybe we need to get some, but it just seems to me that it could be likely that a lot of men are not wanting to get married because they want to be free agents. They still, I don't know, but what's your opinion? And then I'll go to Aya.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of men out here that want the responsibility of monogamy. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, they want to be able to have free range to go out here and be a bachelor when they feel like it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why a lot of dudes don't want to get married. They don't want to be in a marriage because of the responsibility that comes with it. I think that someone that be free spirited to do what they want to do when they feel like doing it. In the culture, you know what I'm saying? Like the culture that we're in, you know what I'm saying, is not really tying in or fitting into, the marriages where there's a lot of, monogamy. Nobody wants that responsibility. We come from a very free spirited culture. You know what I'm saying? We could go back to the 60s with the free love. You know what I'm saying? That's probably where it started at. You know what I'm saying? Being able to be, free in who you sleep with. You know what I'm saying? To have access to do that without being judged and stuff like that. So, years and years, I mean, here we are 50 some years later, you know what I mean? And we coming from a generation that was very free spirited, you know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of sex going on, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the 90s. The 90s was wild. There was a lot of sex going on. You understand what I'm saying? So, you don't go from having all this fun, the chronic is out, doggy style is out, you know what I'm saying? You having a lot of, we partying, right? We partying. There was a lot of partying back then. It's hard for a lot of people to get themselves out of that, you know what I'm saying, and go into a marriage because they're like, I kind of like the way my life is right now. You know what I'm saying? I like to have free range to be a bachelor. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is they don't want the responsibilities that come with marriage.
Okay.
That's why a lot of dudes is hesitant to get married.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Ayo, the ring.
I'm letting my point with you.
The ring. Wow. There's a lot to that. I want to piggyback off of some of the things that Ross said, but as far as the ring, I think it's important in our society because yes, the actual marriage is supposed to be between two people, but we have to have tells for society to even know that somebody's married. And one way to know is by actually witnessing a marriage ceremony. That's one way that the community and your friends and family know that you're married. But another way is by wearing a ring. If you wear a ring on the ring finger, then somebody who's a stranger could look at you and say, oh, that's the married man. You know what I mean? Or that's the married woman. I'm not going to approach them, or I'm
Right.
going to regard them as a married person. So I think the ring is important. As far as it being a tradition, it is a tradition, and it's not necessarily a religious tradition, but it is a tradition in this country. And like I said, it's a way to tell if someone is married. The problem that I have with the whole ring is like what Ross said, with the, like, especially the engagement rings with, this one costs $14,000, or this is for 14 carats, or what have you. What happens is we've been brainwashed to believe that um, diamonds are somehow valuable or precious or rare, and they represent love, when nothing could be further from the truth. Diamonds are they're very abundant. In fact, diamonds are used in an industrial manner, like, because it can cut through, rock and, really hard things, because of its compounds or whatever. So we've been brainwashed since I want to say the 50s, to
Okay.
believe that diamonds are a girl's best friend and diamonds represent love and all this other kind of stuff. Two wedding bands on your finger, like, two bands on your ring finger, that's enough to let someone know that you're married. We don't have to be with the diamonds. That's as far as that goes. The other points that I want to touch on is, like Ra was talking about, as far as I'm concerned, it's not about the ring. It's about, we don't have a code of conduct that we're following. We don't have a code of conduct that we're all following. What's happening is, like Ross said, in the 60s and 70s, we had free love, where people were like hippies and they were being very hedonistic, and whatever they felt like doing, they did. But the irony is, those same people by the 80s had settled down to become yuppies and buppies. You know what I mean?
Right.
They bought their house in the suburbs and got married and all this other kind of stuff. And when we were coming of age, it was funny how he was talking about the 90s, but when we were coming of age, we could not live that kind of life if we wanted to, because we had AIDS and we had all kinds of things, you know what I mean, to prevent us from doing that. So if we were living under a code of conduct, if our traditions had remained the same, like before, I want to say, the baby boomers came into play, if we had those traditions, there wouldn't be this confusion right now, because there were social norms that you did not, I won't say didn't participate in, but you didn't expose the fact that you were living your life in an in like a, I don't want to say, I don't know, like in an adulterous or fornication type of manner. Like, if you did that, it was hidden. It was something to be ashamed of. But nowadays it's not. And the
Right.
other thing is, Rob brought this up too, as far as religions go, we have a lot more religions in this country because we've had a lot more immigration. We have a lot more religions where people aren't even familiar with the American way of doing things in the past,
Right.
because they're not Americans, or they just came here recently.
Right.
So I think, like, I try to steer away from religions because I'm not big on religions. I believe that people should be spiritual and should have their own relationship with the Most High, the Creator, God, whatever you want to call it. But we should all follow the same code of conduct, so we're all on the same page of what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable, and what's not.
Okay, good
So
stuff.
I think that's important. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I agree. Okay, on the topic, still relationships. Next question. It's time to eat. Who eats first? The husband or the kids? It's a debate out here. It's a topic of discussion. Raw.
No.
Does daddy get piece of chicken, or who eats first?
I put the kids to eat first.
Okay,
That's just me. You
break
know
it
what I'm
down.
saying? I think the nourishment. You know how they talk about the and get the big piece of chicken. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like Chris Rock there, yeah, dad, or he get the big piece. The kids should eat first. That's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm an adult. You know what I mean? So I can hold off my hunger. I can deal with my hunger better than
Right.
children. You know what I mean? I think that the children should be prioritized first. I feel they should get nourishment first.
Okay.
That's just me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That was honest.
I don't know. Some people might disagree.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not going to yell at the kids and tell them not to get a plate because I haven't ate first. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So no, I feel like the kids should make sure the kids eat first. You know what I'm saying? Make my plate last. I'm okay with that.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Ayo, what's your perspective on this?
I think we should all eat at the same time. So, like, we're all sitting at the table together as a family, and we should all eat at the same time.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. I think I do a lot of that. I think our family has always eaten together. That's one thing I can say. We always sit at the table and eat together. But if I have to choose, I'm very traditional in that way.
Yeah.
He's gonna get his plate first. If we go to somebody's house, I will make his plate first. And that's how I feel. Kids need to be taught that they can wait because they need to, I think that they need to learn patience. And if daddy is working and making everything happen, daddy need to be treated special. And I think daddy needs to eat. But that's just my own.
And I want to say something else too. Like I could be preoccupied doing something at the time. It's dinner time. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like the kids should have to wait, till I'm finished. If I'm doing something, it's gonna be a while. You know what I'm saying? Feed the kids. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. Cause you know what I mean? Because sometimes I might be preoccupied with something. They should have to wait. You know what I'm saying? If it's dinner time.
That's good. I agree. Respect. How important?
Right.
How important is it for the women to respect their significant others, their husband? Is there a difference between the two? Respect meaning how she speaks to him in front of his kids or in front of the public. And matter of fact, since you're a man, Rob, we'll start with you. I guess we'll come back to Ayo. It doesn't matter.
Okay, that's fine.
Wait, repeat that question again. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
How important on respect, if it's even important, in terms of how women speak to their significant other, whether that's boyfriend, somebody you're dating, somebody that you're married to, your partner. How important is it that respect is a fixture in the relationship? How she speaks to you in front of your kids, how she speaks to you in public in front of other men, audiences. How, is that a deal breaker? How important is that?
Well, the respect is really important on how we interact because people are looking at that. You understand? I always had a saying, if you want to know a man is truly respected, look how his women and children treat him. Look how his women and children speak to him. If you really want to see if a man respected, look at if the closest ones to him respect him. If you really want to know if he's respected. Okay? So, yes, I feel like respect in the way we interact is everything, especially when it comes to a man, an honorable man, a man that has integrity, has pride. You understand? And he has his woman as his representative of who he is, right? That should be, she's a representative of that. So if she's not respecting him and do see that, they're going to see a weakness. You know what I'm saying? They're going to see there's a loophole in y'all solidarity with each other, even with the children. But one thing I noticed is that when the woman don't respect you, the kids is watching that example. You understand? And that opens the door for the kids not to respect you either. You know what I'm saying? Because the mother has a very big influence in the family. You know what I mean? So the kids is watching how the mother is treating the father. If the respect is not there, most likely he's going to have a hard time when them kids start getting older to get the respect from them as well. You know what I mean? So the way that, yes, publicly, yes, that's everything. You understand? But, a lot of women know this already. If they disrespect you because they don't have respect for you, it ain't like you have to, remind them about that, that's something that you know from the back because you're going to want to give the respect. You understand what I'm saying? So if a woman is not showing you respect because she don't respect you, it's not the fact that she just have this ratchet behavior about her. You understand? It's just this is the way that she conducts herself around you, and she want other people to see that as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. Respect.
Mhm.
Io, how is,
Um.
oh, wait, and I got a twist for your question
Okay.
because you are a woman. Same question, but
Mhm.
as you answer that, I want you to also consider can a woman who is advocating for feminism, because I'm sure a man
Mhm.
somewhere in the world wants to hear this question, can that same woman respect the man? Or like, what do you think about respect first and foremost? How do you
Okay.
do that?
Okay. As far as respect goes, I read somewhere years ago. It was like I read something, I think, in a relationship book, and they were basically saying that respect is the most important thing to a man as far as relationships go. He's not going to function well in a relationship if he's not respected.
Mm,
Likewise, as far as women go, love is more important to women,
mm,
being loved and cherished and cared for. So we have to take into consideration that as human beings, we're different and we have different needs. So part of the problem that I see with relationships nowadays is we're not cognizant of the fact that we have different needs, we have different desires, and we have to approach how we deal with each other in different ways. It's not a cookie cutter, type of thing. Like my perspective is not going to be the same as a man's perspective. As
right.
far as feminism goes, if you look at the definition of a feminist, it just means a person, man or woman, who believes that women should have equal rights or have equality with men. Meaning, like I said before, if I work at a job where I'm pushing buttons and pushing papers or what have you, I should make the same dollar an hour that a man makes. Now, that's not to say that if somebody is doing like heart surgery and I'm a janitor, then I should make the same thing as them. And like I'm a woman who's a janitor and the man is a heart surgeon. That's not to say that. I'm saying if I'm doing the same amount of work at the same rate, the same output, I should be paid the same. But that is not the case. That's
Mhm.
one thing. Also, it's not the case that women have access to certain professions and positions. So we basically, feminism is just the equality. It has turned into something else over the years. And if,
Mhm.
excuse me, and it's my opinion that all people of color should be feminist
I
because
love
there's inequality in our communities. You would want the woman who has to work to be able to get competitive wages to take care of her family. You
right.
see what I'm saying? You would,
And
that's be so that children can be fed. You know what I mean? So that bills can be paid.
right, right. But the truth of the reality of the matter is this: that a lot of men do not agree with feminism. They do not agree with women getting the same wages. They do not agree that women should be equal.
Right,
And then
because it's the
if they're going to be made to
mhm.
subscribe to that, then they're not going to be fair to you. You know.
Well, that goes back to, like I said, the code of conduct. We're not on the same page with code of conduct. A lot of people, the reason they don't want it or it's not fair to them, they're looking at it from a perspective of competition. But if you look at it from the perspective of thinking about when you were a child, right? And let's
Mhm,
say you grew up in a single parent household, you're basically saying that it's okay for me to live in poverty and to have less than, because I don't want my mother to make more money so that I can have a better life. That's
mhm.
basically what you're saying.
Right, right. So next question, guys. Um, I think that is fair to say. I don't think either of you would disagree that we have been corrupted, as a
Mhm.
society. by propaganda and a lot of other variables, right? And just to go to Rob with something he said earlier about men, right? A man with integrity, pride, morals, right? And we look at the propaganda of, we'll just take Sierra with them dragging her husband. What's his name? Russell
Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
I think he's gorgeous. I think he's talented. I love that he seems so domestic. He's taken on her child as his own. They've had more children. They look to be a loving couple. I don't know who could look at that and feel any ill will, but yet many men do. In fact, they have drugged him in social media, on every social media, saying that he's a square, saying how dare he listen to her and do it. He's a wimp. Is it a simp?
Simp.
Sorry. But and I want to hear your comments too this time, Ayo. I have never yet heard, what's the baby's father name?
Future.
I've not heard a man berate him yet for like leaving her and the child, and leaving the child, and not taking care of his child, because it's been reported that he hasn't done that. So why do you think that construct exists? And it's one thing to have an existing construct, that propaganda has made, but for so many people to be a part of that, so many men to sign on, with that. What are your thoughts?
Okay. This goes back to, like I said, the whole MGTOW movement, and that movement, men who are talking about their incels, all this division. It's all about making sure that we as Indigenous Black people do not come together. So there have been a lot of movements that have sprung up, I want to say, in the past 15 to 20 years. And the whole purpose is to make sure that we don't have loving, committed, healthy, functioning relationships, period, end of story. Now, getting to Russell Wilson, that makes no sense to me, because basically, like, people need to put themselves in the position of a child. Basically, what they're saying is Sierra has no right to get married and have someone be a father to her child.
Wow.
Like, they're saying that Black children do not deserve to have stepfathers. That's basically what they're saying. And then I have heard stuff about Future, but they'll flip it and blame the woman, because now the narrative is Future has 8 baby mamas. So they have all these brothers, and they're making it seem like there's all these brothers out here with no kids. It's like, whatever. But Future has 8 baby mamas. So that's 8 women who made a bad decision to get with him. They already knew he had other baby mamas. So it's like it's never the man's problem. The man can take responsibility for absolutely nothing, and he can do whatever he wants to do, and there are no consequences. It's always, always, always the Black woman's fault for everything. So as far as that, I find it horrible, the whole simp thing. And basically what they're saying is any man who gets with a grown woman who's not a virgin and who has no children, they're a simp. That's basically what they're saying.
Wow. Ra?
Yeah, just, you got to look at the propaganda of it, the fact that why the man that want to step up and make a woman, a Black woman, a wife, and want to take, her child and make her child and adopt the child and make the child his own. Why is that so uncool in this society when a Black man's doing it? You know what I'm saying? It seems like, you a Black man trying to do the right thing is not cool. It's not fashionable. You understand what I'm saying? It seems like the ones that get the most attention, the ones that get the most fan base is the one that's being the deadbeat dad. And it makes you like, this is where you want us at. You understand? You gotta look at the propaganda behind that. You know what I mean? When it been cool to be a deadbeat father? We having a lot of these women raising their children with no father in the house, and you seeing the outcome of that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of broken homes and stuff like that. Then you got this one brother, you know what I'm saying, that want to marry a Black woman, you know what I mean, have a family with a Black woman, willing to raise her child that's not his own, you know what I'm saying, and he's getting dragged all on social media. You understand? Right. Like I said, when it been uncool to be the man, like be the Russell Wilson, and it been cool to be the Future, you know what I'm saying, with the deadbeat father, you know, making babies all over the place, you know what I'm saying, and not marrying nobody.
Right. Do you
In the
think
process of that, these are single
right.
mothers making, yeah.
No,
So
I get
I'm just, you know, you got to look at it, you know, and you got to look at the machine that's behind that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they promote this.
right.
They making Future look cool, even when we know how he's moving out here. They
Exactly.
still making him cooler than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I was
You know what I mean? Future got the machine behind him more than Russell
I was
Wilson does. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at that when it comes to
yeah,
black men and how we're being demonized, even when we're doing the
yeah,
right
I was
thing.
really shocked that it was all men that I noticed who came out to support him, and he was even trying to say a couple of negative things about Russell Wilson and like what is a square? I'm like, because this guy
It's a
is
simp. It's a simp. Not a
Yeah. So now doing the right thing, you a square.
that's deep.
You understand what
That's
I'm saying?
deep.
But this is a black man. When a black man does it, he's a square. You gotta understand that.
To
You know what I mean? So long as you're a disorder, you're good. You're
right,
cool. You're
right.
fashionable.
Because we're not
As long as you're a disorder
exactly.
to our community.
where does this come from? Is this historic? This is a historic issue, I believe, with us.
No, no, this is a recent thing. Because when we were coming up, remember they had this show, The Brady Bunch?
Yeah, of course.
So that's an
Yeah.
example of someone marrying a woman with children and taking the children on as their own. You see what I'm saying?
No, I
This whole
You know, his own.
this whole thing,
Exactly. Yeah.
this whole thing, like I said, it goes back to what I said earlier as far as everything that's done in society is to keep us from coming together, to keep us
absolutely.
from
I don't
having
disagree.
relationships that are healthy
Yeah.
and
I agree.
mutually beneficial.
Keeping us
I agree.
dysfunctional. Yeah.
That being said, like I said, I've
That's
noticed,
right.
like I want to say the past, I
Yeah.
said 15 to 20 years, but I think it's more recent than that. The whole it's basically the same time MGTOW started, because what's happening now is I was just watching Dan Calloway earlier today, right?
Right.
And he was pointing out how the statistics are showing that the white population is not replacing itself. Like there are not enough of them being born. So basically they're dying out.
They have a
And
lot
what
of
they're doing
Yeah.
now is they're proponents of jungle fever. Whereas in this country, not in other countries, in America, there has been a line of division where they were 100% against race mixing, right? Which is a problem. Like race mixing is not a good thing. We're not supposed to participate within that. But I'm saying the dominant society was against it. It has changed in the past few years because they noticed their numbers diminishing. So what
right.
they're willing to do is participate in race mixing so that they can replace themselves with mixed race and biracial children. That will be the dominant society.
Okay.
That's
So
why.
And when you look at the and when you look at the whole process, what they're going to do is they're going to racially mix, and they're going to use the biracial child as a vessel to try to
Right.
preserve themselves. They're going to have that biracial child give with somebody white. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
how they're going to try to preserve themselves.
The
You know
new
what I'm saying?
white
They're going
man
to
is
try
going
to,
to be
yeah, they're
biracial.
going to use, yeah.
yeah, just let me say this, and I'm gonna plug in a few.
Yeah, and they already are consciously and spiritually, a lot of them, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all, but consciously and spiritually, you do have some biracials that identify with white and white only. They don't identify with the black side of their lineage.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But when I talk from a historical context, I'm specifically leaning toward what made us get in this way. Like I said, it appears that we are corrupted, right? By variables that we didn't have control over, like when our men were forced to be bucks, right? When they were forced to have children with everybody on the plantation. And do you think that has some bearing into the situation that we're dealing with today? And Ra, I'll start with you and go to I.
Yeah, when you look at the plantation, like I said before, you know, we wasn't allowed to be men. We wasn't allowed to be fathers. We was allowed to be bucks and breeders and laborers. So, yes, we never got therapy for that. You're talking about 400 years of brutal slavery. You know what I'm saying? Where you didn't even have the power to stop your children from being sold. You didn't have the power to stop your woman from even being raped by the slave master. You was totally powerless in that position of being a slave. You understand that caused a lot of trauma. We never got counseling for that. We tried to harbor it the best way we could and tried to live in society as normal people. You know what I'm saying? And you start to see remnants of that because we didn't get counseling, because we wasn't never allowed to heal like that.
And
You
Mayo,
understand? Like I said before, you know what I mean? Us trying to heal, yeah.
no, I'll
Hello?
go back to you. Mayo says, just on the topic that you're saying, women have been raising children on their own since slavery, when the slave master would remove the men from the household. And it's crazy how that these practices never
That's a good point.
that they just evolved into something different, but the men are
Yeah,
taken
the
from them.
welfare system is still the same thing. Basically, practically, all they have did was revive the slave system. You know what I'm saying? It's the same results. You're removing the man out of the household. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you'll use public assistance to do it, the rules and regulations of public assistance, or you'll lock them up. You know what I'm saying? Or they might die just being in the streets trying to provide for their family.
Right.
So either way, you still got a system, or in the way you construct a society, you still set it up in a way you're still removing the man out of the household, where the woman have to raise the children on her own.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We want to take a dip for a minute and come to something else really quick. Yaisha Thompson says, not only is he targeting Sierra, he's also targeting Steve Harvey's daughter because she doesn't want to be bothered with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
How do you guys think about that?
Well, I want to answer the question that you asked, Ra, as far as you know, historically, what, you know, these types of relationships. When I was in college, and I majored in AFAM studies, what I learned was even during slavery, we were still a family. And like I said before, everything that's done in America is to destroy us from coming, or prevent us from coming together and having healthy relationships that are mutually beneficial, that we can, you know, grow from. So everything that's done in America is to prevent us from coming together. Right. So even during slavery, like let's say families were separated, people would walk 1,000 miles to get with their family members. Like they would walk from plantation to plantation. That's how much we remained a family. The family structure got really broken and disintegrated, I want to say, in the 40s, when we started migrating from south to the north. Because in the South, we had like communities that were conducive for us to have more healthy relationships. But when we came north, we didn't have our communities anymore. So it was like we were separated. And then there were things put into place that would cause further divide within the families. So that's where, you know, welfare and all that came into play. But even with that, we were still coming together. What they did was in the 60s, they had a new wave of immigration. And so what was happening is people who looked like us but weren't us were being grafted in our communities with different cultures, different spiritual belief systems, and they were being grafted in our communities, and that was causing division amongst us. So what you saw in the 60s was the birth of two people coming together, but they weren't necessarily both American. That's what you saw happening. So that was causing a division.
You start seeing the cultural differences.
That was causing a division.
You start seeing cultural differences.
And it was causing an imbalance in the community too, because a man, like an American man who didn't get with an American woman, was leaving that American woman without a partner now. So that's what was happening as well. But then they took it to another level. Because what they did in, like we said before, in the 70s, they were introducing new concepts like hedonism and free love and all that, which is not conducive for monogamous, healthy relationship.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly the point that we're on about this.
Right.
So it's did I say? And I'm going to pause you for a moment because Rodney's been trying to get in something for a minute. Right, you want to slip in that comment? I've been trying to get something out for.
No, she pretty much hit it on the nail. You know what I'm saying about that, about the fact that we started having immigration that kind of fragmented us as a collective, as Americans. It did, you know. especially when we couldn't make, tell who's who because there's so much of the cultural tethering that was going on. You didn't know who was American and who was a foreigner at that time. You know what I mean? And as time went on, when people started revealing who they were, we look up, and now a lot of Black American women is without a companion, without a husband.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And it all plays a part in that. So basically, she broke it down eloquently on the reason how we got to this place. You know what I'm saying? How we got to this point when it comes down to, all of this played a part in it, and the powers that be knew that. This was all a process to keep us divided, to keep us fragmented. You know what I'm saying? This was all a
so let me just cut in
process. They'll sit and wait and do a 50-year plan,
Right.
Yeah.
So just right there, we kind of, what you said, I want to take that and move into the next part of this show because we're going to start to, dwindle down, but we still got time. But right there, what you said, that division, that divide and conquer is always evident. So what we have seen happen now is that those same practices that were foisted upon us, now it's like we're doing it to each other. And I'm going to say that, and I want to show a clip. I don't know where our buddy Ayo went, but I want to show a clip. So
I'm here.
I want to pull this up. Just on the topic of division and get, some feedback on this. So you guys just bear with me for a minute.
Do that again? Sign language?
Are you recording me on live?
Hold on, I gotta find our space.
Hi.
Hold on. Okay, I'm at the wrong spot. You guys work with me for a second. Okay, here we go. And we're talking about division. We're talking about how they divided us and now how we're dividing each other.
Listen, family and friends, please keep my whole situation up in prayer. This is 1,000% wrong. City Hall, Newark, New Jersey. Listen, Mayor Raz Baraka, please. Every video I'm begging you, telling you, please. This is wrong. Since you've been in office, since I've been here since 2017, 2022. I ain't never in my life experienced nothing like I've experienced for the 51 years I've been living in the city of Newark, New Jersey. I ain't never in my life experienced nothing so hateful, evil, demonic, anything above how the people in there do each other. And that's since 2017 I came there. I saw nothing but women being battered, beat down, manipulated, scorned by each other in there, or the men or something like that went on with them. And that's 1,000% wrong. And now here it is. Y'all trying to play these games with me like somebody crazy and all this and that. Listen, if I am crazy, y'all the cause of it. So now y'all have done so many men and women wrong in that building, which is pathetic under Raz Baraka leadership. And that's facts, and that's wrong, and that's 1,000% sad, because you really held hands with all of us and said you're going to change and do this for the better. And it's the worst we ever went through over here in Newark, with people not loving on each other and hating on each other and showing each other discords against each other, like putting each other against each other, women especially in there. There's no unity whatsoever, and I refuse to be a part of it. And there's no way y'all gonna shut my Elohim Yahweh down inside of me that I'm speaking truth. I'm showing y'all where y'all going wrong at, where y'all went wrong at, and y'all sitting up here still trying to make matters and stuff worse. How you doing, brother? I love you. You all right? Looking good, yeah. And y'all still making things worse for my whole situation. Like I abandoned my job. I ain't never abandoned my job. Y'all some liars. Y'all know that. Y'all trying to cover up. And that's sad. Y'all done switched me from here to there, had me working illegal with everybody doing this stuff. Y'all still doing some illegal stuff, and it's wrong. And y'all, we're going to make sure everything gets to the bottom of it. So family and friends, please keep me up in prayer. And please, when y'all see me put stuff up, please pay attention to it. Don't allow the lies to get through and stuff like that. Come on, that's not love. But I tell you one thing, Yahweh bigger than man. Yahweh bigger than you, Raz Baraka. God bigger than you. For all this stuff you're doing to people allow what happened when they come to you, with truth, and y'all covering up with lies. This is wrong. You got all these women each other against each other. That's not unity. That's sad.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. The reason I showed that, and I'm sure you can see several connections here. It's the division, right, with the community. It's the division between women. We see that mental health. She wrote herself on this mental health, and we go back to what Ross said earlier about that the mental health issues we had were never treated, right? We never got therapy for that. So we're dealing with all of these issues day in, day out, every single day, right? And then now we're doing this to each other. And if this was a lone, isolated incident, I wouldn't even brought it up. But this on the heels of a most recent men's meetings that occur that women are not invited to. In fact, even Councilwoman Roundtree allegedly was asked to leave the last meeting, which is one of two females that we actually have on our dais here on the city council. This also on the heels of a fiery speech that was made with commentary that came directly from current leadership here in the city of Newark that basically is women's fault for the single women, single parent women.
Right.
For your kids got a gun. Basically, y'all single parent.
They're the ones who got it. They brought it to this country. They did that.
And I'm smiling to just kind of make light of situations, really not light at all, because there's nothing worse than for a mother who's tried herself to struggle on her own to go to work and raise a child, which is virtually impossible. Only God intervened in that situation and made sure that your kids turned out okay, because you have to raise your kids, and you cannot raise your kids and be at work. That means a school or a grandparent or somebody is raising your kids. And people don't even talk about, I'm not even getting on this right now, the escalation of molestation that has occurred because you couldn't watch. So just imagine, a lot of mothers are dealing with that, the guilt of molestation. Some mothers are in jail right now because they found out about it. Working, the guilt of being at work when you know your child needs you to raise them. Okay? The guilt of having a job at City Hall, and then when something goes wrong, you don't even have other women that have your back when you feel as though that you're right. We look at these issues, right? How can we remove ourselves from these situations? How do we break this never-ending chain of divide and conquer? We continue to be divided, and it's not about dividing us about gender, but it's about respecting. And I love what you said about feminism. Feminism is not just about women supporting, treating other women equally, but it's about men doing that as well, which is why men are always invited and sent emails to be a part of WAGE. So I just wanted to get your feedback on the video, your thoughts and concerns and feedback on that clip. And I'll start with you and I'll go to Ra or whoever.
Okay. All right. As far as I'm concerned, this isn't a Black people issue. This is an issue of corrupt politicians and their policies that they're putting in place, which does what it's supposed to do, and it's just destroy the community and keep us divided. Because as long as we're divided, as long as we're fighting, we're not holding them accountable. We're not removing them from office. We're not having that. They're not taking responsibility for their destruction in the community because we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves, because that's the way they set it up. As far as what can we do about it and how can we heal, I will say it again. We need to be on the same page when it comes to our conduct. We have to have a code that we follow. I would suggest that people look into the Torah. The Torah is 613 laws, which is basically within the Old Testament it's really the first 5 books of the Bible. So it's not a religious thing as much as guidance on how you conduct yourself and what you like, the things you're supposed to do and the things you're not supposed to do, and why you're supposed to do it and why you're not supposed to do it, and the consequences, for not following the law. So first of all, we have to get on the same code of conduct or the same page when it comes to that. Then from there, we need to work on healing, like Ross said, and we also need to re-educate ourselves on who we are and our history, because we have been lied to so much. It's causing confusion in basically our day-to-day life. Like, we don't know up from down, we don't know right from left, we don't know what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do, because we've been lied to about everything. When I say everything, we have been lied to about everything. So first of all, we have to be on the same page or on code, as far as what we believe, as far as practicing and dealing with one another. That's number one. Number two, we need to relearn our history. We need to educate ourselves on who we are and our place in society, in America, and the world.
Right.
So, and then I'm sorry, the second thing we need to do is work on healing. We have to heal because we have been through the storm. We have suffered a lot of wounds. And what's happening nowadays, too, is we're being gaslit. Like, people are minimizing and diminishing the struggles and the hardships that we've gone through. Because you'll hear people say, like, oh, you're bringing up the race card, or oh, you're focusing on color. When there's the indigenous Black population in America has gone through things that are unique to anybody in the world. It's like
Absolutely
specific to us. So therefore, just
That's
like
right.
the first video that you showed, that woman has no right to say anything to Black women because she has no concept of what Black women go through.
okay.
So it's like, so that's another thing. We cannot listen to people who are not Black tell us about our situation, because
Yeah.
nobody who's not Black goes through what we go through, and nobody who's not Black understands what we go through. Not even quote unquote melanated people or people of color, because they don't go through what we go through.
And I'm glad that you said that, because it's the truth. And what I see a lot, which I have a disdain for, is people who are not us telling us how to be us.
Exactly.
And it's unacceptable. I agree. Ra, what do you think?
Yeah.
And again, we back to the video, the separation, the division, you know, and how do we move forward from that?
I agree with Ayo. We got to look at the source of the problem. Who the ones that's provoking this, keeping us fighting and keeping us at odds with each other. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the main reason what keeps them being able to have the control out of the chaos is the fact there's limited resources. You know what I mean? So they'll turn people against each other by giving certain ones opportunity, giving other people, you know what I'm saying? People got to fight for limited resources. Somebody might be going against another person for a promotion, right? They know what they're doing, you know, the ones that's in power, especially the ones at City Hall, you know, that keep everybody at odds with each other while, you know, they the ones that's provoking all these problems amongst each other. I think that we have to look at the source of the problem that's, you know, that's provoking these problems amongst one another in the community. So I think that one of the solutions is that we got, like she said, a code of conduct with one another. We need a code amongst each other, the people, the grassroots. We need a code with each other. Okay, stop looking for these political bases to do stuff for you, because they're not for you. You understand? And due to the fact that we're the indigenous Black Americans, the only ones here classified as Black. Okay, we don't get inalienable rights. We don't get no human rights. We get ignored, being classified as Black. We're in a dead status. We're civiliter mortals. That means civilly dead. We don't have no rights. Okay, this is why we're constantly being undermined. This is why we still an underclass. Everybody benefits off of us being disenfranchised. Okay, so stop looking for these politicians and the political bases in these cities to help us, because they're not there to help us. Okay, we're supposed to only aid people in getting tangibles, opportunity, and getting their rights. It's not going to be reciprocated because we're civilly dead under law. So just the way we're classified, we're being undermined. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, but you know, this circus with all this mess that's being created, you know what I'm saying? These are old politics that go back to the ancient world. You understand? Just keep everybody preoccupied. Keep them fighting each other and keep them entertained. You understand? When you look at Rome, when Rome was doing corrupt stuff that was going to affect the masses, they kept them preoccupied with the gladiator fights, the chariot races in the arenas. Okay, so This is how you keep people from being in the collective. You keep them preoccupied on stuff that's not conducive to their progress or their unity. You understand? So
I want to break this up because I want that I want you guys to respond to. And it goes back to what we said earlier. You know, people assume that we don't know our history and we don't know, but we do. So we're gonna read this, and this is why. And no disrespect to Mayo, love Mayo to death, but like she said, what did Mayo said earlier? She just identified who she was. What did she say? Let me go back up here a little bit. She says, I'm Dominican and Black. Okay, she says she considers herself to be Afro-Latina. So she says there's so much of our history as a people that we have been lied to about. Not all Blacks were slaves, true, nor were they all brought to this country, true. Many Blacks were already here, true. Many Indians in this country were classified as Blacks. Many Indians, are Blacks, but slavery days. Okay, some even claim to be Black to keep from being sent to Canada, and some of them paid $5 that weren't even Black or Indian to be Black. So I don't know the good stuff. I mean, Maya, thanks for sharing that with us, guys. You can comment on that if you like.
Oh, I'll chime in when she was saying that some of the Indians were classified as Black. What they did was and this goes back to what Ra was saying, that we are like legally in a dead status, whereas Indian is not. So to
that's right.
For the people, for the powers that should be for the dominant class to take our land from us, they had to reclassify us because Indian does have a status in this country. So to steal our land from us, they reclassified us first as Negro, then as colored, then as Black. Now we're African Americans. And that was all in an effort to steal not only our land, I said our land, but also our heritage, our culture, our religion, and also our intellectual, what I want to say, products, because we've invented a lot of things that we're not given credit for. And we've solved a lot of problems. There's a lot that we've contributed. Well, it's not even contributed. Basically, most inventions were invented by quote unquote Black people, but we don't get the credit for it. That's basically what's happening.
Right.
So I totally agree with what she's saying. And the other thing is, the slave narrative is untrue. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to fix my thing. My computer's like about to die, so I'm trying to keep it plugged in.
Yeah, we should be off here like
basically,
but we good. Y'all rocking.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to keep my cord in. So basically, she's correct. The whole slave narrative that we've been taught is not accurate. I'll put it that way. It's not accurate at all. They told us, for the most part, that we came from Africa and we were brought to the Americas. And it was funny, when I went to college, I had a friend who was older than me. She was pushing 50 at the time, right? And this was like 15 years ago. She said, Ayo, it's funny. We're majoring in African American and African studies, but we don't learn ish about Africa. Like, we're not learning nothing about Africa. It was like basically the history just stopped at slavery. If you can imagine, you know what I'm saying? The history stopped at slavery. And the reason that is because there is no connection with us in Africa. The only connection with us in Africa is the indigenous Black Americans that they sent to Africa.
Right.
To start like Liberia, Sierra Leone. That's the connection. But as far as them getting people from Africa and enslaving them in America, that didn't happen. And in fact, the connection to Africa is not in America or even the Caribbean. It's really to South America and Brazil because of the trade winds, right? So it's like a underwater conveyor belt that will bring you from West Africa directly to Brazil. But for up in America, people don't know this, but our trade winds go to Europe.
Okay.
Go from America to Europe,
because we want to still stay on this relationship. We don't deviate too far, but I just want to connect what you're saying, what she's saying.
Right.
The relationships are all fragmented because our history is fragmented, and we have
Right.
even when we were allowed to go to school. Like, I don't know how they did in Rutgers, but at Keene, where I went, you were not able to get a degree or in Africana studies. You can only get a minor.
Right.
Major. You couldn't have a major in Africana studies at the time. So who was in control of that, right? And who is now in control of the Amistad Act? And again, I always say legislation passed in 2002. It's 2022. And it still hasn't been implemented. They
I
tried
can tell you why.
I want you to. They
Okay.
introduced some CRT, which is different, but they just don't want us to know our history, even when we go. And we gotta bring the whole world to get that legislation passed. And then when we get it passed, it's like they give you the middle finger anyway. But that doesn't happen when it's a hate crime with Asians. That does not happen when it's somebody else. When that legislation is passed, it gets pushed through right away. The legislation for immigrants to have licenses. What?
Yes.
But our kids, we can't learn about our history.
Right.
It's absolutely forbidden in 2022. And they still buck against that. So I'm gonna let you say a couple of things. I don't want to pass the mic to Rock because he got some things he wants to
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna keep it really brief and to the point. I know my professor at Essex County College was part of the duo that came up with the curriculum for the Amistad Act. And I also spoke to Donald Payne about this as well, because he was very instrumental with the Amistad Act, right? The reason I believe that it hasn't come to play and it's not being taught in schools is because the history is inaccurate.
Go right into that comment with what you're about to say, and then please let's pass it to Rock.
No problem. I'm gonna break it down really simple.
Connected to the comment.
I am. The history is inaccurate, so therefore they cannot pass the Amistad Act because that is based on us coming from Africa. You see what I'm saying? They can't teach that history because we didn't come from Africa. There's not enough lies in the world that they can put in a book to teach that history. That's the reason why the Amistad Act hasn't come through. Now, I want to briefly talk about what you said before about going to Kean University and they didn't have a major in AFAM studies, right? I wanted to go all the way up to the doctorate level, but they didn't do that at Rutgers. Right. And when I graduated, that was back in 2007. Right. Now, I don't even think they even have the AFAM program like they did when I went there, because it was very few people taking classes in AFAM studies or even majoring in it. What they're doing now is they have Caribbean studies programs at Rutgers, which is in America.
Excellent stuff. Ra, you got all the patience in the world.
I'm just letting her talk. She going there. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening. You know.
Let's go to comment back, Rod. Basically,
the thing is, our history is, our history is fragmented. You know, because you didn't just have people in slavery over here. You had freedmen. You know, they said Charleston's supposed to have been a black city. New Orleans was a black city. So this is during the time when slavery was still, alive and well. So there had to have been some freedmen when you had a large amount of us that was still in slavery, antebellum slavery. Our history is fragmented, and they keeping a lot of this history away from us, so we can't really pinpoint, the history and bring it all together so we can have a full understanding, of who we are. We Indians, and then some saying we was Moors, and then some saying we were Israelites, and then some was like, well, there were freedmen. You see how it's all fragmented. So my thing is that as far as our history is concerned, like I said, I would try to go to the source to try to understand. As far as who we are, we have to go back and try to find, the origin, that the fact that we was here before the Europeans got here. We was thrown in slavery because, like I said, there's certain books that speak about, you know, the Native American or the Aboriginal American. They was calling them Indian Negroes. They was calling them red Negroes. These was the ones that they put under the Negro Act back in Virginia back in 1699 when they was talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's also speculation that there was a small percentage of Africans that was brought here that was also put under the Negro Act. You understand? Anybody that had the phenotype, our phenotype was very similar to the African. So there's speculation on that. But I know for certain that Negro, Black, and colored are all synonymous with each other. Right. You know what I'm saying? They also put, you know what I'm saying, the mulatto, which was the biracial slave, they put them under Negro, Black, and colored too. You understand? So you had the mulatto class that was under the Negro Act. You had the Aboriginal American, which is us. You know what I'm saying? That's considered the Black American now. They was under the Negro Act too. And then some of the Africans that was brought over was under the Negro Act. So everybody that was put under the Negro Act, there was a lot of mixing going on because there was no distinction between us under law. There was no distinction. So, you know what I'm saying? But the history is fragmented because you got Moors that saying this was a Moorish republic. You know what I'm saying? This was considered Al Morocco, you know, back in the day. You know what I mean? They saying Philadelphia was a Moorish hub. So there's a lot of history and untold history or history that we don't know about that's circulating now, but it's all broken down into fragments. Because you got the Moors, then you got the Aboriginal Americans, then you got FBA, and then you look, it's still fragmented. Right. You understand? Right. And nobody,
all of us, this impacts really quick. And I'm gonna come right back to you, Rob. Matter of fact, I need you 30 seconds on this. Then I'm gonna go back to Rob.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maya says even Mexico history has Black passing through it way before slavery. At one point in Rutgers, they were teaching, I think I want to say Latino history. Why did they stop teaching that?
Okay, I had a friend who was Puerto Rican, right? And he told me that at one time they did have like Latino / Hispanic history at Rutgers, and they stopped it because you have to remember the understanding. We were already under the impression that Hispanics and Latinos were connected to the indigenous population. We've always been under that understanding. Right. So to teach that history, then we would be under the understanding that we are a part of that. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, everything is to make sure that we don't know our history, to make sure that we don't come together and that we don't form relationships. Everything is about dividing us from away from each other. That's what this is all about. So,
thank you, Ayo.
That's my 30 seconds.
You did good, girl. You did.
Thank you.
That's right.
Your comments. What do you think?
You know, the whole thing of keeping us divided. You can look at it from the economic classes that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You got the bourgeois, then you got the middle class, then you got the lower class. You understand? And we're still under the same classification. We still all in this death status. But like I said, when you have economic classes, it's keeping us divided. You know what I mean? And you can see it in social media when you see people like, yo, I don't build with nobody who's trying to not get money, or you know what I'm saying, securing the bag. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, if you ain't trying to get money, don't F with me. I don't talk to broke people. Like, I'm just looking at all of these different posters. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? If I'm broke, you don't even want to see me coming. You know what I'm saying? So you see how it affected us throughout the times where everybody's trying to be in high economic class, you know what I'm saying? But you want to talk down them to be, you know, prioritizing money. You know what I'm saying? Or don't want to secure the bag. Some people just want to live a regular life. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to have to think like that where everything is about business. Everything is about having a capitalist mindset. You know what I'm saying? Some people just want to just, you know, be with other black people, click with other black people, and be in unison. But these economic classes is keeping us divided. You know what I'm saying? Because people like, people only want to take advice from you if you don't got no money. It's crazy.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
I
So
want to chime in.
I think
I
that
want to chime in on that.
20
2
seconds.
seconds.
We got another clip.
Okay, I just want to chime in 2 seconds. Oh my gosh, Rob, what you just said. Me and Sheila were just talking about this the other day, right? And I said, I have a way of figuring out if somebody's not American. Or I should say indigenous Black American. Yes. And I said one easy way to figure out if somebody's not is because they care about money. For the most part, we don't care about money. Yeah. It's like you said, we care about family,
we don't.
We care about being healthy. You know what I'm saying? We don't care
about prioritize unity.
That people from other countries, the only reason they're here is so they can get the bag. So when you see people focusing like
they can get the bag, exactly.
Get rich or die trying, that tells me that you're not one of us. You're not from the community. You're not one of us.
Because once you exactly, because when you start prioritizing the money over the morals, this is when you start having, the mentality. You start having more people with that mentality. I don't even want to associate, around people that's not trying to get money or who's not business savvy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I remember you could get some real good advice or knowledge from somebody that's on the streets that's homeless. You understand? And that has always been a part of Black American culture. That that man outside that's homeless, you understand, that's selling them newspapers or whatever, might even have a drug habit, could drop some really good game on you or drop some jewels that you can apply to your life. You understand? Because the Commonwealth is us valuing our self-worth as a people. You understand what I'm saying? So,
and so the self,
you could get jewels all outside at one time. Yeah.
So the self-worth part is a major role, right? That self-hate, right? That indoctrination into a system that tells us we can't have an education, we can't know our true history. You can get a bag, right? That you can listen to, and I'm gonna get this back to the relationship part, even though we're still on that. What's her name? Erica Mena. I was just watching.
Oh my goodness.
Erica Mena and her husband Safari. Everybody's probably familiar with this. I watched a lot of it early on, but I just thought, and I'm like, what did you think? What did you think this guy was gonna, bring to your life other than what he did? And so we don't know because we're not even allowed to look on media right now and see, who we had the Cosby Show, and then we see how that went, right? We see what they did to Cosby. So we don't even get to see us positive in media. We don't get to hear us positive in music.
That's right.
We don't get to hear our history in the schools.
Right.
We don't even get to love each other from a municipal level because the hate that comes out of that building is sweltering. And I bring it up on this show to say, I hope that, God intervenes and a change happens, because how much more do we take? How much more? Even with women, and I'm bringing this plane down to Atlanta, we have women, I used to say the pygmies, right? Let your husband leave you. I'm sitting over here waiting for him.
You're making it hard on him.
We have other women that now they're calling hoes. I don't know if you guys, and this is the last clip I'm going to show for the evening. Country Wayne. He does this that I love. I live for.
I love him. I stopped watching him when he broke up with Rolanda. I was done. I was like, I can't.
Listen. I love Rolanda. She's the next Claire Huxtable. So I'm gonna play a clip with her, and because some people have been coming for her. And like I said, we're gonna bring this.
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
Because I just love her, and she had felt the need to go live to address, some of the hate that she was dealing with. So I just want to share this and get your thoughts on this, and tell me what you think.
For some of you all to be educated on how the mindset of a woman over a specific age and a certain caliber, how she lives this thing called life after 50. Now, for you all to call the character Rolanda on these skits a Holanda is what I'm being called, or Roho, or whatever y'all call me now. Not me, but the character. She's for the streets. She's a bot. Let me help y'all out. A woman over 50 pretty much lost her virginity about 30 years ago. Over 30 years ago. She's lived life. She's dated men for discovery. She's been married. She's been divorced. She's been married and divorced maybe 2 or 3 times, right? So that body count is pretty up there. It's pretty much, it's probably, you can probably count on 2 hands how many how many men she slept with, or women. I don't go there, but anyway, that's her business. So to call her, to call a woman those names at this point, we're gonna wear that with honors, because at the end of the day, we don't care. We've lived this life. We've got it figured out. So we're no longer pushing an agenda that's been ingrained in us since we were children, since we were babies. We're no longer pushing that agenda. We figured it out. We figured out that this life has been to benefit men, and there's been a double standard, and it doesn't work anymore. So just as the men can have fun at this age, we're having fun too. We don't have to sleep with everybody, because most of the time it's just about having a great time, companionship, and just living our own lives the way we choose to. And we don't care what you think. We don't care about that no more. Just because a woman is in the company of a man, if he breathes on her, she's a hoe. She ain't even done nothing. We know how it works now. It's figured out. So we're going to let the tadpoles take on that. And what I mean by the tadpoles, you young women, y'all can carry that. Y'all can carry that weight. But when you get to be my age, you're going to figure out, man, we've been bamboozled.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. We don't care about the titles. We don't care about that. Yeah. We're changing the narrative. We are redefining what it's like to be 50. Redefining what this cougar thing is about. So y'all stay tuned, because there's more to come. And we are living this life to the fullest. Be easy.
Absolutely.
I can get what I mean, she's redefining 50, but redefining 50 is also not you on TikTok and you twerking and granny's twerking with the granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? So redefining, you know what I'm saying, in your 50s. I'm just saying, what is redefining in your 50s? You know what I mean? Because you're starting to see on TikTok, you seeing women that's old enough to be grandmothers on there twerking. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? My thing is this. Women that's doing that, what type of message is that sending to young females? That might think redefining 50 is I can do what the young girls do. As far as twerking.
Okay.
Start giving twerking tutorials. I've seen on.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Learn something from them.
As far as that goes, what I've noticed over the years, being a woman, I'm going to be 50 next year. So what I've noticed is that, like I said earlier, we're men and women are living under two different codes of conduct. The problem that we're seeing now is, like she said, the double standards and hypocrisy. And I heard a saying that I thought was so cute a while back. They said, with hypocrites, if not for double standards, they would have none. So what I'm finding is, like, a lot of men get angry when they hear a woman like Rolanda talk, but they're not taking into consideration that they're the ones who made a Rolanda. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a whore without a man giving himself permission to sleep with a bunch of women. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If men had more respect for women, if they were on code, there would be no whores. There would be no whore houses. But because men feel like it's okay for me to break the laws and, statutes and commandments of the Most High, but you can't. But it's like at the same time, who are you breaking it with? You're not breaking the law with a woman who's going to combust after you do what you do to her. She's still going to be around. You see what I'm saying? You're not breaking the law with somebody who's a virgin. And then when you're done with her, she's still going to be a virgin. No, what you're doing is you're creating a problem and then complaining about the problem that you created. So if you don't want there to be whores, then you don't want to participate in adultery. You don't want to participate in fornication. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no such thing as a whore without men giving themselves permission to sleep with a bunch of women. Period.
Crickets.
But even, let me say this before I'm gonna land my plane. When you look back in the slavery days, the slave master did have Jezebels, right? He had Jezebels in the house. So what I'm saying is, it even go farther back than us being in society and this whole thing of men wanting, turning women or trying, making women into whores and making them feel like they gotta be whores. When you look at the slave master, and he had women solely for him to sleep with, you know what I mean? And he made them into Jezebels as well. I looked at Django Unchained, and he had a Jezebel in the room with him, that in that scene when the two black men were fighting each other, and you had the sister sitting there at the bar having drinks, having some champagne. I guess that's supposed to be the Jezebel. What I'm saying is that when you go to the origin of it in this country, you know what I'm saying? The slave master always had Jezebels. You feel what I'm saying? So, that mentality was still amongst us even after slavery. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that, it's just that, but it plays a part in that as well, while we have that mentality and it's so prevalent in our communities. Right. You know what I'm saying? The men too, like I said, we was allowed to be bucks and breeders. We're now looking at the fact that mentally we were socially engineered to be this. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there was no therapy and all that. There's guys out here, you know what I'm saying, been going on for generations now, where there was a lot of womanizing going along. I can speak for myself. I can speak in my family tree for my father, my grandfather. They were womanizers. You understand? I want to go to the source of the problem. I want to go where it all started at. You know what I'm saying? So we can understand where it started at, then we know how to deal with it. But I know that this plays a part in the psychological, in our psyche, the way we think. When you look at, back in the day when we were slaves, you know what I mean? The buck came from slavery. The Jezebel came from slavery. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. When I look at the origin, I just look at the source of the problem, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to find a way of how do we heal ourselves, because I'm looking about the solutions of it. You know what I'm saying? It's not about what I'm entitled to and what you're entitled to if it's not bringing us together as a community. You understand what I'm saying? I'm looking for a resolve. What is the solution to this? And now I'll end my plane with that.
Okay. So I don't know if the question is now, what is a hoe?
I can answer that.
How is a 50-year-old? Because I'm interested. I'm 50.
I'll tell you.
A hoe is not gender based. A hoe could be a man or a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a double standard? And I think we know that there is.
Well, a hoe is basically a shortened version of a whore. And a whore is usually, a whore is not usually, a whore is a woman who sleeps with a lot of men.
Right. And that's
a man who sleeps with a lot of women or who sleeps with prostitutes is a whoremonger.
Well, he's celebrated.
Well, that's the double standards, and that's the hypocrisy. And that is done, like I said, everything is done to make sure that we don't come together, because people have studied us for millennia. They have studied us. They have figured us out. They know good and darn well when they came over here, we were not conducting ourselves the way we are now.
And neither was
Everything,
they. Look,
right?
look,
So
answer that question while you're on it.
okay.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then Rod is
that. Okay, yeah, that's part of it. That's not all of it. As far as a whole and a man truly respecting a woman, blah blah blah. I've heard all that stuff ad nauseum. The problem that we have is, like I said, a whore is somebody who sleeps with a lot of men. A lot of times, what happens, what causes a woman or a man to go down that road is sexual abuse at a young age, or being raised. I'm sorry.
No, come on. You're on point. I'm agreeing.
Okay. Or they're being raised in an environment that doesn't foster morals and, a standard that's acceptable to society. So somebody could have respect for themselves and be raped. They could be gang raped. You see what I'm saying? So that narrative that needs to die. That whole narrative of, I don't respect her because she don't respect herself. That's BS. That is something that people say to assuage their own guilt and their own shame for disrespecting another human being. There's no excuse for one human being to disrespect another one. But people have all kinds of excuses when they do it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. Excellent. Wow. Same question.
Yeah, like I said, a hold of me, at the end of the day, like she said, sleeping with, multiple men, but, I always thought the whore got paid for what she did. You know what I'm saying? It comes from prostitution. I think that the word is being used out of context. You understand? Because we're talking about a hoe. We're talking about a hooker. We're talking about somebody who sleeps, you know what I'm saying, to get some type of monetary gain. So that to me, that
I hang out with a lot of fly 80-year-olds. So 80-year-olds just recently said to me that she respects a prostitute more than a whore. Because she said the prostitute getting money for it and the whore ain't getting nothing. Somebody just said
okay.
And keep talking, but what do you think about that?
Okay, well, now if we talking about somebody, a slut, that's different to me. Now you talking about a slut, that's different. But you know what I mean, a whore, like we can interchange the words all we want. I thought a whore and prostitute was the same.
You're right.
Somebody who sleeps with somebody for money. You know what I'm saying? So if we're talking about a hoe and these women are not getting a monetary gain for sleeping with men, then the word is being used out of context. Now, if we're talking about a slut, that's something different. Somebody who's promiscuous, that sleep with men, you know what I'm saying, because for sexual pleasure, then that's different. But, the word has been used out of context, hoe. You know what I'm saying? So if we're talking about it, you know what I mean? I believe, like I was saying, that could go back to there's women that have been sexually molested when they was younger, sexually abused. That plays a part in their mentality. Some women feel like, sleeping with multiple men, they're looking for the right one. Some women are looking for love in the wrong places. They go about it the wrong way. You understand? They feel like they gotta sleep with the man to feel like, to make the man closer to them. You know what I'm saying? And some women sleep, for some type of validation. So when we talking about, a slut, you know what I mean? Sometimes, women are looking for that certain someone because there's women that I know from, back in the day when I was younger, they slept with multiple guys, but then they find that one that they really in love with and they don't do that no more. You understand what I'm saying? So, sometimes, it has a lot to do with the woman's mentality. Look at their past. Like I said, when I was saying the last question, we got to go back to the origin. You understand? Why some of these women are the way they are, why their mentality is like that. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes the molestation and plays a part in that in their past. Might have been molested as a child. They might have been sexually abused when they were younger. You understand what I'm saying? So, sometimes some women maybe just okay with being that. You know what I mean? I mean, you got some women that's okay with that. It seems like now.
Are they okay? And again, guys, just keep in mind, I'm only pausing here because it's 9:55. We want to bring this to a close. And I'm going to let you guys have the last word. Are women really okay with it? You know, like I said, just start back to the beginning. We got women mad things popping out. I want your husband. Okay. You got a little Rolanda like, dag, I'm a hoe now. Like, you know, it's a hoe. Like, you know, she like, listen, I'm 50. The body count, like, stop it. Like, then you got my girl Katina on here saying, I'm gonna be 50 next month, and I just don't really know about dating anymore. So it's like you're on a spectrum. You're either being a hoe, you're dating. I'm gonna put it a different way. You're kissing all of these frogs trying to find a prince, right? Or you just done said, I just give up because I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to live by myself. But meanwhile, somebody is in charge of all of this, pulling the strings from all of this.
Right.
The middle to now, that unseen hand, that hand keeps men incarcerated at an unfair rate, right? And all of these things impact us greatly. Like what our kids are listening to the music.
Exactly.
Indoctrinated to where women are not homes, that women are not something to be valued. And then women take the blame for not getting abortions, having the kids. And then when the kids go astray, it's our fault.
Right.
When the kid, no matter what the kids are out here, what did Tupac say? We make the babies and hate the ladies. It's our fault.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, we can't even twerk. Like,
we invented it.
You wanna holler, like if I'm being real, right?
Right.
Throw up both your hands, like real talk. So you gotta kind of laugh and keep pushing and try to move forward in this situation that we in. But we're in a situation, and we get to talk and vent about this situation without being shut down by Facebook or Instagram, or
right.
They're taking her TikTok videos down when she's talking about this woman is crying out. And people cry out in a plethora of ways, you know, like we've done here. Right? And everybody is upset. And this is really through no fault of our own. That the fault of all of this corruption that goes on within our race. And that's what we're talking about, our race tonight. Because no one has had to deal with chattel slavery the way that we have. Like I said, I could see immigrants come over here and bless their heart. You know, because a lot of things are going on in these countries.
Right. That's true.
We don't get that love and support here, and we're native to this country. And that's not to say anything in comparison to them. But when you see that type of, again, we want to be supportive of women. Our vice president, what's her name?
Kamala Harris.
Harris. Oh, we're not doing anything for just Black people.
Because she's not Black. Because she's not Black, so she wouldn't.
So
exactly.
That's the point. So again, I think that I just want to say that as a nation, we have to start planting our feet on the ground and making room for Black people to support each other and to advocate for one another and to talk about their issues as unique they are, away from everybody else who wants to get in and have something to say to the contrary. You do not get to do that. You do not get to do it. And
that's over with.
I support Latino pride. I support my Mexican brothers and sisters. I support LGBTQ. I support everybody on their thing. But once you say Black pride, whoa, you wild. Like,
yeah, you being divisive.
I'm specifically talking to all Black women.
Yes. So we want to just say that I'm going to give you guys the last mic. I just want to just end up with saying, you know, as a culture, we don't owe anybody apologies. We are survivors. We have been through a lot. And to make matters worse, we are still continuing to go through a lot. When you have somebody like Katina, beautiful, coming up here saying that she's about to give up on dating. I kind of feel like that, and I ain't even dating. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the drama. I don't want the nonsense. I don't want the offset. But that's not how people want to feel naturally. But when there's been so much indoctrination, right, that has broken us, and broken people break people. That's our reality. And we need to really move forward with some type of healing. And that's all I have to say for the evening. And I'm gonna let you guys have the mic, and then we're gonna close out. So ladies first, and then we'll close out with Rob.
Okay. Wow, that was a lot. I want to address what Katina said as far as, she's done with dating. Really, the concept of dating is, I'd say, relatively new. I'd say like the past 100 years. Before, people didn't date. People, we had a code of conduct, and what people would do was they would see some or find someone they were interested in marrying, and what they would do is court them to see if they were compatible, to see if they would make a good fit.
Right.
The whole concept of dating is repugnant in the sense that there's no purpose to it.
Mm-hmm.
Dating is just hooking up with somebody because you think they're cute or you're attracted to them, but it doesn't come with the reason I'm dating you is to end in marriage. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas courting is they want to find a person that they want to marry. So basically, she should have never been interested in dating.
Right.
None of us should be interested in dating. And that's a ploy that they use to keep us divided, to keep us participating in interactions that don't benefit us.
Good stuff.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Ayo.
You're welcome.
Okay. Ra, it's all yours. Take it away. You're gonna close the show.
Yeah, it's sad that the sister said that she don't think she's gonna date anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of women are getting tired of the 360 cycle again. Meet somebody, the guy's not totally honest, or the guy is lying, or the guy want to cheat. You know what I'm saying? And and it's a shame that this is continuing where the women are giving up on trying to date somebody or finding a companion. I think that we have to get out of these the way that we've been socially engineered to act. You know what I'm saying? Of it's cool and fashionable to lay up with multiple women, but yet and still the women don't know each other. They don't know that you're living a polygamous life. I believe that the way that we stereotype, because now we're starting to adopt these stereotypes that white society had about us. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, being men looking at women as hoes, but yet engaging in sex with women that's labeled as hoes. We have to we have to have a code. We have to step away, from this westernized way of living, these cultures that we adopted, and start trying to have a grassroots code amongst each other, and start to try to heal each other, through the black man and black woman, because we don't have no friends. We don't have no allies. All we have is each other. You understand? And we're not going to be able to survive without one another. So, like I said, stray away from these westernized cultures, try to come together, with a grassroots culture, something that have our unity and solidarity with one another, and learn how to love each other again. And I think the respect and integrity will come back from one another. And I'm going to land my plane there.
Thanks, Ra. And thank you, everyone, for joining.